and welcome to the virtual sewing room in conversation with. And today I'm joined by
Béatrice B. I'm at Miss B Curtis on Instagram.
Super, and you're also one of our virtual sewing room hosts as well.
Yes, I was very honoured to be asked about that.
Made our shortlist and had a little discussion with Dee and Lucy, who are our first two, and
Yeah.
just such a friendly presence in the sessions. Do you remember when you first joined a session?
I think it wasn't your first one. I think it must have been sometime in May last year.
Yeah, I think it's been our second
There
session.
weren't as many sessions then as there were.
No,
It was
yeah,
just you.
just me, yeah. And look how far we've come now.
Absolutely. It's amazing.
It's so nice to have you part of the team. So whilst we have a chat, we're gonna work on a bit of sewing. What have you got there with you today?
I've got a little vest top that I'm, for my sins, hand stitching. It was a moment of madness when I decided to do it because it's taking me forever. But there you go. That's what sewing does to you.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm working on a hoodie that is branded up. It's an old work hoodie, but it's really snug. And it's kind
Yeah,
of winter. We're filming just before Christmas, so I'm embroidering over it. So I feel, yeah, I just need it covered because the brand is
yeah.
old in many ways. So just going to be stitching over that, just with some random stitches today. Um, yeah. So how have you
Good.
always been a creative person?
Oh, yes. I used to make dolls' clothes, and I can remember the first garment that I made for myself. I must have been about 11, I think. It was a chambray skirt gathered with a little bit of lace detail.
Oh, nice. What inspired you to make it?
Uh, I guess I'd always seen my mum dressmaking. She made our clothes when we were little. And I'm sure there's plenty of family photos of the sisters all wearing the same dress. So my dress would end up being worn by me, then the next sister, then the next sister.
Yeah, I had I've got two older brothers, and I definitely wore some of their school shirts at some point. Like, sure, only wear it for a year, it'll be fine. They were so
Yeah,
oversized. I wore them for like
waste not, want not.
yeah, very much so. Which is on point because you've been doing the Last Sewist Standing this year. Um,
Yes. Um, Again, it was a moment of decision. I'd been kind of thinking about it because I'd heard about it sort of towards the end of last year. And I'm a big fan of Zoe Edwards, who runs the Check Your Thread podcast. And she'd been talking about it while she was doing it. And the thought was sort of there mulling in my head. Is this something that I should be doing? Is this something that I want to do? And is it something that I've got the ability to do? Um, and I thought, well, I can try. I think I've got enough stash to keep me going through the year. I've got elastic, I've got interfacing, I've got zips. I think I can keep going. Um, So yes, it was a very last minute decision because I thought I have got a lot of fabric that I've just been hoarding, and wouldn't you prefer to actually make things with this fabric rather than just see it lying there in your hoard, making you feel guilty because you feel you should be sewing it? So I thought I'll just get on and sew it.
and so we've got what, a week, well, maybe just less than 2 weeks left of the challenge, and
Yeah,
you've brought no fabric since
I've
middle of February.
bought none. I've been very lucky. I have received gifts because people have taken mercy on me. Um, so yes, you very kindly sent me some buttons, which I'm wearing today.
Oh, I was going to ask, is that a me made top?
It is. It's actually a dress, but yes, it's navy ponte. Um, I made last year. I made myself a sort of a basic t-shirt dress pattern, and I've been making it ever since because wearing stretch clothing is comfy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So anything that I can wear that's, t-shirt, ponte, scuba, it allows you to be comfortable.
Yes, I found this. I think when I first tried jersey the first couple of times, I think I did everything wrong. Like I didn't have the right needle and things. But now, like, yeah, game changer,
Yeah,
stretchy clothing. Maybe lockdown had a lot to contribute to that. But yeah, stretchy clothing all the way.
yeah.
Mm. I mean, do you find that your stash, as you've worked through it, was it mostly woven or stretch?
It, it was a combination. What I've found is that the older stuff is the woven, and I'd been buying more stretch in the last 2, 3 years, um, more stretch than woven. So in a way, I was already starting to curate my stash. Um, but I've, I have, I sew with woven fabric as well. It's, sometimes like for a blouse, you need something that's got that structure to it or that has got some more flow. Um, and yeah, so um,
What helped
I've,
you get through the challenge? Did you have any weaknesses at any point of going, oh, I'd love to buy
I
that?
think, I think in the first, I don't know, couple of weeks or so of having made this commitment, um, I went up to London because Janene Oobop uh, on Instagram, um, she works in a very creative collective, and they were having a mending day, and like that was very on brand for me. And I love the idea of mending to keep your things going, keep the
Mhm.
clothes that you love still wearable. So I went up to the to this day of mending, this open day at her studios, um, because there was a really interesting talk with Alexandra Brinck, who does a lot of knit mending, and with, oh crikey, can't remember her name. One of the sewing bee contestants from 2 or 3 years back, who does a lot of upcycling.
Mm.
So I was really interested to go. But her studio is right off Gold Hawk Road.
Oh, that's not
I know. So I had to go to Gold Hawk Road within the first couple of weeks
what a test.
of starting Last Sewist Standing. I suppose we should explain what Last Sewist Standing actually is.
Yes, I meant to ask that, but yeah.
Um, so it's a personal challenge that starts on the 14th of February every year, um, to not buy fabric, patterns, haberdashery, notions. The only thing you're basically allowed to buy is needles and all-purpose thread. So no fancy threads like, I don't know, top stitching thread or whatever. Um, and the heavyweight division is you haven't bought any of those things. If you somehow manage to end up buying anything like notions or patterns, then you're still in the challenge, but you've slipped down to the lightweight division. Um, so the basic ban is on fabric buying.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's run every year by Miss. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it. In my head, it's Miss Taeschli.
I'll pop it in the description below so people can
Thank you.
find it. So
Um, she's I think she's in Switzerland, and she's a really fun person to follow anyway. She's good fun. And yes, so she keeps us all going, she keeps us motivated. And somehow or another, the challenge ended up a couple of years ago with people sort of having like a horse in the race. And so everybody started naming the horse that they had in the race. So yes, my horse is Gollum because, as I said, if wouldn't we all prefer to be sewing our stash rather than just looking at it like Gollum looks at the precious? So I've been sewing the precious for the last nearly a year.
And do you feel better for doing the challenge? Like you've really dented your stash?
It's made a huge dent in my stash. I I've sewn pretty much all of the woven fabric I had in the stash. I think I've got a couple of bits of viscose left and some very old silk cotton blend that was a that I made into a top, but there's enough left over to make a top with some statement sleeves.
Mm.
So that dates back to about 1998, I think.
Years ago.
So, but that's the very oldest bit I've got in my stash. And it is remnants, it's not an unused piece.
Mm.
So I've sewn most of the stash. And then I had a few remnants, which I put into a fabric swap fairly recently. So almost everything that went into the fabric swap was something that I'd got left over. So now I feel like everything in my stash is curated. It's something that I definitely want to keep
Has a purpose.
and work with. There's nothing that I sort of bought and thought, oh, what did I do that for?
And how do you keep track with things with Stash Hub or
I don't. I have got Stash Hub, but I haven't really used it. What I use is my bullet journal. So I keep a fabric stash page and just keep track of that. And I set up a Last Sewist Standing page just to kind of motivate me.
yeah, I've seen it
So
on
the
Instagram. It's so good. It's nice to see like kind of like a few months in, just like still going,
yeah,
ticking off
still
all.
going. So I've ticked off the month, but also I've made a list of every time I've finished a make, it goes into the details, so that I can look back and say, yes, I used that on that.
Amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad having kind of had you in our sessions the last year, cheering you on, and Amy, who's one of our regulars.
Oh, she's been great.
Mm,
We've been really, I think we've been very supportive of each other.
yeah,
She's definitely been very supportive of me.
yes. Do you know how many people are in the race still?
No,
I'll keep
no,
an
because
eye on.
not everybody responds to the, like
Yes,
8 month milestone. I think that was the last one.
yeah.
Um, and it's uh, and Miss Taeschli doesn't actually do many sort of like stories.
Mm.
Sorry, no, she doesn't do many posts on Instagram. She does stories and they disappear after a while. So um,
Mm.
yeah, that's not so easy to keep track of who's doing what and where everybody is.
Yeah. Be interested to see how many horses finish the race, as it were.
Yeah, yes. Well, we'll all find out soon. It finishes at the end of the year. So then there's a 6 week gap for people to
Stock up.
replenish their stash.
Mm.
I
Will
can't.
you be taking part in 2025?
No, I won't because my stash is very much reduced.
Mm.
So, and also I've had a year of being very sensible, and I'd quite like to be a little bit let loose again. Maybe the year after. So, if I do go a bit mad this time round, um, I can do it to sort of like rein myself back in later. But it's really made me appreciate what I can make with what I've got. Um, and I really don't know how I came to have so much different coloured thread. I've got tons of it. I haven't needed to buy any new thread at
Right.
all. Um, so yes, that's something that's kind of surprised me.
Mm. I
But
know
yeah,
I've
and
got.
also people have been very kind. As I said, I've had gifts. So I have had a couple of gifts of fabric, not requested, but there is one virtual sewing room regular who has a massive stash, and she was very kind when we were at the fabric swap. She was very good at finding fabrics that would speak to me.
You can name and shame. I presume it's
Oh,
Ellen.
it's Eleanor.
Yeah.
It's Eleanor. She's the world's biggest enabler, isn't she?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was going to invite her on here. So at some
Yeah.
point, hopefully see her and hold
So
her.
she's so yes, she very kindly has donated a couple of bits to me because she didn't want them anymore and she felt that I would be able to make some use of them. And she's absolutely right. I have.
Yes, I think I saw you're working on one at the social in Southampton. The dress that you did flower on, was that one of hers?
Yes. No, that was a genuine swap item that I
Oh, okay.
picked out. She picked it out, but it was a swap item. So I went into the swap thinking my personal rules were so long as I come home with less than I went,
Yeah.
um, then that was within the rules.
Yeah.
And I picked out some fabrics, but the week before I'd seen Eleanor at a different social, and she had just sort of handed it to me, handed it one piece of fabric, and then at the swap at the end, she gave me another one. Again, n none of these were requested, but um, I felt that it's okay to say yes because that is within the rules. You're allowed to accept gifts
Yeah.
that are not um,
Yeah.
not requested.
Yeah. I think she only did it knowing that was okay to do. She wouldn't have done
Yeah,
it. So,
yeah.
oh yeah, it's been wonderful hearing about it. Um, so I'm going to go off on a tangent and ask a question I like to ask everyone. What did you
Mhm.
want to be when you were little? What did you want to do when you grew up?
Oh, I wanted to be a ballerina.
Love.
It's I just couldn't imagine anything more glamorous and beautiful than a ballerina. Obviously, years later, I found out about how hard work it is and how it knackers your body and how you break your feet with, learning how to do point stuff. I didn't know any of that, but I just wanted to be one of those beautiful, beautiful creatures. And I did do ballet. When I was little, I went to ballet lessons. I had a lovely. She was an Icelandic lady, it's called Stella, um, uh, from whom I learnt the one phrase of Icelandic that I know, which is "I love you." Eg elska þig. Uh, yes, I was very encouraged by my ballet teachers. One of them actually put me, well, she was talking about putting me in for an audition for the Royal Ballet School.
Ah,
Um, and nothing kind of came of it. I was only about 10, nothing really came of it. And some years later, like in my 40s, maybe early 50s, I was talking to my mum and saying, "Oh, I wonder what happened. Why that never actually came." She said, "Oh, we didn't think it would be good for you to have ballet as a career. She said, we didn't think it would be good for you to do that. So that's why. So ever since, I've kind of felt robbed of this career that I probably never would have had."
sliding doors moment. Oh, good.
Absolutely, yeah. So I still love watching ballet, and I still think ballerinas are the most beautiful, ethereal, glamorous thing.
Mm. But I know there's another dance that you're particularly passionate about as well. Come
Yes.
back to
Well,
Egypt. Okay.
yes, in a way. Yes, in my 30s, I discovered belly dancing, and absolutely fell in love with it. Um, Again, it felt like something glamorous and exotic and exciting. And um, my my teacher was very encouraging and quite quickly into my my belly dance experience. She asked me to be her class assistant for her beginners class. So I'd moved up to her intermediates class. But she had a really big beginners class, and she said, "I can't manage it all by myself. Can you help me? Just, keep things going." And as it happened, it was really unfortunate for her. I think it was her father-in-law was dying, and she had to take a lot of time out to go and visit him in hospital and so on. And so she ended up passing quite a lot of the teaching responsibility to me. And I decided, oh, I really like this teaching malarkey. So I ended up teaching teaching belly dance and also performing in like student shows, student parties, and various like showcases. I have done a little bit of restaurant work. It's not very fulfilling. And I prefer an actual stage rather than trying to dance in between tables and dodging the waiters and so on. So yes, did I did belly dancing as in a way. I managed to get a dance career despite my mother thinking about it. And I did get the chance on one of these showcases to dance at Sadler's Wells in the smaller theatre there, the Lillian Baylis Theatre, but I was on stage at the Wells.
So cool. Amazing.
So yeah, after a while I started making my own costumes because I am a plus size lady, has to be said. And so I was making a lot of my own costumes. And then I thought, well, I've got more costumes than I can really actually wear. By this stage, my performing career was coming down. So I thought, I've got to stop making costumes. But I've got this sewing bug. And so I came back to dressmaking through that.
Oh, nice. Oh, I'm so
Yes.
glad we touched on the belly dancing. So I wanted to make sure people knew about that about you because it's wonderful. I remember when we first learned about it, it's like, B, dark horse.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. It's, I've got friends all over the country through it, and sewing is starting to get that way now. I've got friends all over the country through virtual sewing room. Um, I may get to meet them sometime, I hope. A lot of them I have met before, so people like Yvette from Stash Hub and Mel, and Eleanor from Surrey Sews, and Sewing Bear Claire on Instagram, who runs the Sewtime socials in Southampton, and Tanya, was it? I think she's Just
Dreadful.
Let Me Sew on
Sounds
Instagram.
right, but I'll put the whatever the correct one is in the description.
I think it's Just Let Me Sew.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Um,
Yeah, it's been really nice the last year or so meeting people because I think I've met Tanya a couple of times,
yeah.
and
And of
yeah,
course, I've met you
yeah, we've met each other. I remember first meeting you when you came to help at the is it
at the
Thread?
Threads Festival.
Yeah, at Farnham Maltings because you offered to help on our stall that we had, and we had a few minutes before the doors opened, so I thought I'll go to the loo now the table's set up. I opened the door and in the middle of the corridor, who was there? Me. I was like,
Yay!
"Yes." Just like it's like a perfect scene, just like
Yeah,
me. And I think I probably did scream your name as well.
you probably did.
It's just the excitement of seeing people because yeah, we had Dee and Mel there, and
Yes.
yeah,
I think we met people there. There
yeah,
were people. And also we did the live
yes,
because there was a virtual sewing. I think it was Mandy who was hosting it
yeah, yeah.
uh,
He was
while
hosting.
we were at Threads.
Yeah, that was really beneficial and fun. Like I think it was really good to showcase what it looked like to people,
Yeah,
extra interactive element. Uh,
yeah.
But we have been chatting for so long, we're gonna have to start to wrap up. I'm gonna
Mhm.
ask you one last sewing question is are there any small businesses or individuals within the sewing crafty world that you want to shout out about? Anyone you particularly like?
Yes, she's kind of a sewing hero for me. Claire Louise Hardie, aka the Thrifty Stitcher. She was one of the first people that I went to a sewing workshop with. Um, and she is so knowledgeable. She was one of the original sort of like sewing advisors on the sewing bee in the first couple of years. And she's written books. She wrote one of the sewing bee books, and she's also written a book more recently on how to clone your clothes. And she's a really good teacher, and she's just a really fun person to be around. And one of she does so she's worked as a theatrical costumier. She works in TV, on like morning shows. I think it's good. No, I can't. Don't ask me. I
Yes.
don't. I
Yeah.
don't watch morning
I think
shows.
something popped up on her Instagram actually the other day because I do follow her. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's nice.
So she's got a wealth of knowledge, not just of how to make clothes, but how to take ready to wear clothes and make them fit you better, or to improve them, or make them fit your shape better, or to lengthen or shorten. And she's always sort of trying to use the tricks that she sees in, whether it's couture or ready to wear, the tricks that she sees in those she brings to her sewing and dressmaking. And one of the things that she does is she's got a very portfolio career, is that she runs Sewcations. So they're not quite retreats. It's not like going to a spa or anything, but it's a sewing holiday basically, over a weekend. And I've been lucky enough to do, I think, three of those so far. I've got another one booked for next year. And she runs them with Amanda, she used to run a ready to wear a bricks and mortar shop. Um, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. The Social Studio, I think. And
Oh, was the like retreat?
hmm?
Whereabouts in the country?
Oh, she runs them in different places. So they're all over the country, sort of middle-ish. I don't think she does any in like the West Country or Wales, but there's some in Northampton, in um, Nottingham, in Wiltshire. I can't remember what the other venues are, but she runs maybe five or six per year. So there's different choices to fit, when you're available and where you can get to. So it's a chance to spend a weekend just sewing, but with people who are on hand to help with maybe tricky techniques that you've never tried before, or to get the fit of your garment just so. I I put I put CL and Amanda to the test last time because I was trying to make a dress for my niece's wedding, and the Sewcation was the weekend before the weekend of the wedding, and I was making a rose claire dress from cashmerette, and I just wanted to get the bodice part just so. And I said to them, "Don't worry, I'll be able to finish the dress. I've got everything ready. All I need is to get this fit just right on my toile, and then I've got all of next week to sew it." It was still being hemmed on that Saturday morning, but they did it. They got a beautiful fit for me, so um, I was able to have the dress for the wedding, and also the toile that I'd made is perfect as a you know a wearable garment. And I really want to make it again. I've got some woven fabric that it will work with. So hopefully next year I will have another one.
I remember seeing the finished garment, knowing that you were going to the workshop. I remember you talking about it and having that week to do it. I
It's
would
fine.
link it so people can see it because it was really pretty. I remember.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the end of all our chat, and I'm going to finish with our quick fire round of this or that.
Right.
Cool. Are you feeling ready for quick fire?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Woven or knit?
Knit.
Blue or green?
Mm. Uh, Green? Don't
Plain.
know.
That one stumbled a few people actually. Plain or patterned?
Patterned.
Cat or dog?
Cat.
Early
Sorry,
bird.
I know you're a dog person.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Knitting or crochet?
Hmm. That's really tricky. Crochet is nice and fast, but I like the results of knitting. Knitting.
Train or aeroplane?
Aeroplane, mostly because it means that you're going somewhere really far away and exciting.
Spots or stripes?
Hmm. Probably stripes, but I do like spots too.
Again, that's another one that stumbled people. Um, Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Perfect finish or life's too short?
Very much life's too short.
Cake or biscuits?
Cake.
Read a book or watch TV?
Read a book. The pictures are better.
Zips or buttons?
Buttons.
Text message or a phone call?
Phone calls. Phone calls are always better.
Sewing machine or hand sewing?
Sewing machine.
And the final one, cream first or jam first?
Cream first. That's like the butter layer. And then the jam goes on top.
Thank you. Exactly. Uh, that's the end of the quick fire round. I need some theme music. Boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your company this afternoon.
Oh, thank you.
It's been wonderful getting to know you a bit more, and
Thank you.
I'll see you on another virtual sewing room session soon.
Yeah.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Thanks, B.
Thank you. Bye.